You're about to discover the rarest French semi-trucks ever made. And trust me, some of these trucks are so rare, you probably didn't know they even existed. Stay tuned, because these are more than just trucks. They're pieces of history that shape the road in ways you wouldn't expect. Let's jump right in. Number 1. Berliet T100. Let's start with the Berliet T100, a truck so rare and massive it's practically a legend. The T100 was designed in the 1950s specifically to operate in extreme conditions like the Sahara Desert's oil fields. When it was built, it was one of the largest trucks in the world. Massive doesn't even begin to describe it. Standing at nearly 16 feet tall and stretching over 50 feet long, it was powered by a gigantic Cummins V12 engine that produced an incredible 700 horsepower. This truck wasn't just a heavy hauler. It was a monster capable of carrying up to 100 tons of cargo. But all that power came at a cost. The T100 was a gas guzzler, burning around 10 gallons per mile. Imagine trying to drive this thing around town. That's probably why you won't see one on the highway. In fact, only 4 of these trucks were ever built. Its primary use was for industrial operations, not everyday trucking. The T100's size made it impossible to navigate regular roads, and with fuel consumption like that, operating one was extremely expensive. Number 2. Renault AE Magnum. Next on the list is the Renault AE Magnum, a truck that was ahead of its time when it was released in 1990. Renault went for a completely different look with the Magnum, and it definitely stood out. Its boxy, square cab design was something no one had ever seen before. It gave drivers more room and a flat floor, which made long hauls much more comfortable. But while the design was revolutionary, it was also polarizing. Some people loved it, and others thought it was downright ugly. Under the hood, the AE Magnum was just as impressive as its unique design. It came with a variety of engine options, including a powerful 500 horsepower Mach V8, and later models with a 12.8-liter engine. However, the Magnum wasn't the most fuel-efficient truck out there, averaging around 6 to 8 miles per gallon, which made long-distance trips quite expensive. Still, the Magnum had its fans, particularly because of the comfort and visibility it offered to drivers. Number 3. Saviem SM8. Let's take a step back in time to the 1960s with the Saviem SM8, a medium-duty truck that was a workhorse in its day. Saviem might not be a familiar name now, but back then, it was one of the leading French truck manufacturers. The SM8 was primarily used for regional deliveries and construction work, which made it popular among businesses that needed a reliable and affordable truck. The SM8 was powered by a diesel engine that produced around 150 horsepower. While that may not sound like much compared to modern trucks, it was more than enough for the jobs it was designed for. One of the SM8's key strengths was its fuel efficiency. It managed around 12 miles per gallon, which was quite good for its class. The truck's durability and low running costs made it a favorite among small businesses, but as newer models with more power and modern features hit the market, the SM8 quickly became outdated. Today, it's almost impossible to find one still in operation, making it a rare gem from France's trucking past. Number 4. Latil TL. The Latil TL is a truck from the early 20th century, and it's probably one of the rarest on this list simply because of its age. Latil was a pioneer in all-wheel drive technology, and the TL was one of their most innovative models. Built for off-road use, this truck was primarily used for logging and military purposes because of its ability to navigate tough, uneven terrain. The Latil TL wasn't about speed or power. It had a modest 40 to 60 horsepower engine. But what made it special was its off-road capability. It could go places other trucks of its time couldn't. As you can imagine, fuel consumption wasn't a huge focus back then, but it likely averaged around 8 to 10 miles per gallon. Despite its revolutionary design, the TL was a rough ride. Comfort wasn't a priority, and it wasn't exactly fast. Still, for industries like logging, it was perfect. Over the years, Latil's truck division merged with larger companies, and the TL disappeared. Number 5. Citroen U23. When we think of Citroen, we usually think of cars, but they also built some tough trucks like the U23. Originally built in the 1930s, the U23 was used primarily for military purposes during World War II. It's one of the oldest trucks on this list, but it's still remembered for its durability and versatility. The U23 was powered by a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine that put out about 52 horsepower. It wasn't fast, but it was tough, capable of carrying up to 1.5 tons. Its fuel consumption was around 15 miles per gallon, which was quite efficient for a truck of its time. The U23's main strengths were its durability and ease of repair, which made it a reliable choice during wartime. After the war, it continued to be used for various civilian purposes. Number 6. Panhard Movic. Panhard is another brand more famous for its cars, but their Movic truck was a standout in the 1950s. The Movic was designed for city deliveries and short hauls, making it a compact, maneuverable truck that could navigate tight urban spaces. It may not have been the most powerful truck, but its design made it perfect for its intended use. The Panhard Movic was powered by a diesel engine that produced around 90 horsepower. It wasn't a heavy-duty truck, but it got the job done for city deliveries. However, the Movic wasn't known for its fuel efficiency, averaging around 10 miles per gallon. What really made the Movic stand out was its unique, stylish design. It didn't look like your typical truck. It had a certain flair that set it apart. Unfortunately, as larger and more powerful trucks became more popular, the Movic was phased out. Number 7. Renault GBC 180. Another military truck on the list, the Renault GBC 180, first hit the scene in the 1950s and was widely used by the French Army. It's not just rare, it's iconic among military vehicle enthusiasts. The GBC 180 was designed for rugged, off-road conditions, making it perfect for operations in remote and challenging locations. The GBC 180 was powered by a 6-cylinder diesel engine that produced around 135 horsepower. It wasn't the fastest truck, but speed wasn't its purpose. It was built to handle heavy loads and tough terrains, and it did so brilliantly. Fuel consumption wasn't its strong suit, averaging about 8 miles per gallon, but for military operations, efficiency wasn't a major concern. The GBC 180 was praised for its reliability and toughness, and while it was never intended for commercial use, it has become a favorite among collectors. Number 8. Unic MZ 36. The Unic MZ 36 is a truck that doesn't get nearly as much attention as it deserves. Unic, once a well-known French truck manufacturer, produced the MZ 36 in the 1930s. It was primarily used for long-distance hauling, making it one of the first trucks designed for long road trips in France. Powered by a 4-cylinder diesel engine, the MZ 36 produced around 85 horsepower. It was slow by today's standards, but for its time, it was considered efficient. The MZ 36 was known for its decent fuel consumption, averaging around 12 miles per gallon, which was impressive for a long-haul truck in the 1930s. What made it stand out was its reliability. It could handle long distances without frequent breakdowns, which was a major selling point. However, like many early truck manufacturers, Unic eventually merged with other companies, and the MZ 36 disappeared from the market. Today it's a rare find, even in truck museums. Number 9. Chenard-Walcker Type Y. Chenard-Walcker is a name that doesn't come up often in truck discussions, but their Type Y truck, built in the 1920s, was an important vehicle for its time. Chenard-Walcker was primarily known for its cars, but the Type Y was a successful attempt at building a durable medium-duty truck. The Type Y was powered by a 4-cylinder engine that produced around 45 horsepower, making it suitable for city deliveries and light hauling. Its fuel consumption was around 15 miles per gallon, which was considered efficient for a truck of its era. What made the Type Y special was its versatility. It could be used for a variety of purposes, from deliveries to farming. However, after World War II, Chenard-Walcker struggled to compete with larger truck manufacturers, and the Type Y became a rare sight. Today, it's mostly remembered by collectors and vintage truck enthusiasts. Number 10. Willeme LC 610. Last but definitely not least, we have the Willeme LC 610, a truck that was designed for long-distance heavy hauling. Willeme was a relatively small French truck manufacturer, but their trucks were known for their power and durability, and the LC 610 was no exception. Powered by a V12 engine, the LC 610 produced an impressive 300 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful trucks of its time. This truck was built for hauling heavy loads over long distances, and it was often used in industrial and construction settings. Its fuel consumption was, predictably, not great, around 5 miles per gallon. However, for companies that needed raw power, the LC 610 was perfect. Willeme eventually went out of business in the 1970s, and with only a few LC 610s ever made, it's now considered a rare classic among truck collectors. Whether they were built for long-haul journeys, military use, or industrial work, each of these trucks has a story that's worth remembering. If you enjoyed this look at rare French trucks, don't forget to subscribe or check out the next video for more awesome vehicles.